In astrology, the ninth house is associated with higher learning, philosophy, spirituality, long distance travel, and expansion of the mind. It represents the quest for truth and meaning in life, often linked to education, religion, and law. The ninth house is naturally ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter, which emphasizes wisdom, adventure, and optimism. The ninth house governs intellectual and spiritual exploration. It is where we seek understanding beyond personal experiences, connecting with broader philosophies, moral codes, and universal truths. It also plays a role in destiny, luck, and one's worldview. The ninth house governs universities, colleges, professors, scholars, researchers, advanced studies, PhD programs, and academic achievements in society. It also governs religious institutions like churches and spiritual centers, theology, metaphysics, and esoteric knowledge, moral and ethical values. Law and justice, the judicial system, courts and legal professions, judges, lawyers, or any type of lawmaking, constitutional rights, and moral law is also governed by the ninth house. Books, literature, philosophical writing, journalism, broadcasting, documentaries, intellectual discourse, and opinion columns in the newspaper could also be governed by the ninth house. Meditation, yoga, spiritual retreats, gurus, mentors, wisdom teachers, mysticism, astrology, and higher dimensional studies are also governed by the ninth house. Luck, blessings, and divine intervention, prosperity gained through wisdom and knowledge, generosity and philanthropy, cultural exchange and global understandings, foreign languages and multicultural integration, international politics and global policies, understanding of different belief systems are also governed by the ninth house. Zeus, or Jupiter, the ruling deity of Jupiter, represents wisdom, justice, and divine protection. He governs law, expansion, and higher learning. Athena, or Minerva, is a goddess of wisdom, strategy, and philosophy, reflecting the intellectual and ethical dimensions of the ninth house. Then there's Hermes, or Mercury. Though primarily linked to the third house, Hermes, as the god of travelers and communication, influences the ninth house's themes of exploration and education. In Hindu mythology, Brihaspati, or Guru, the Vedic equivalent of Jupiter, Brihaspati is the guru of the gods, representing wisdom, learning, and religious teachings. Then there's Saraswati, goddess of knowledge, learning, and the arts, deeply connected to the ninth house's themes of education and wisdom. Then there's Vishnu, preserver of dharma, or cosmic law. Vishnu's association with divine order aligns with the ninth house's rulership over ethics, law, and philosophy. Egyptian mythology, Thoth, or Thoth, god of wisdom, writing, and knowledge, resonating with the higher learning aspects of the ninth house. Then there's Ma'at, M-A'-A-T, goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic balance, representing the moral and ethical laws connected to the ninth house. In Norse mythology, Odin, the all-father and god of wisdom, poetry, and magic. His endless pursuit of knowledge aligns with the ninth house's thirst for truth and understanding. In other cultural deities, Aztec, Quetzalcoatl, god of learning, culture, and wind, associated with spiritual growth and enlightenment. Buddhist Bodhisattva, the embodiment of wisdom and knowledge, helping souls attain enlightenment, which reflects the higher consciousness of the ninth house. Each of these deities embodies an aspect of the ninth house's core themes: wisdom, learning, expansion, justice, travel, and philosophy. The ninth house governs higher learning, spiritual expansion, and the exploration of universal truths. This includes higher dimensional studies, which involve metaphysics, consciousness exploration, and advanced philosophical concepts. Here are some key examples of higher dimensional studies that fall under the influence of the ninth house: metaphysics and esoteric studies, Hermeticism and Kabbalion or laws of the universe, sacred geometry and the mathematical structure of reality, quantum metaphysics, intersection of science and spirituality, the Akashic records, universal consciousness and soul records, mysticism and spiritual enlightenment, Kabbalah, Jewish mystical tradition, Gnosticism, esoteric Christianity, Sufism, Islamic mysticism, Taoism and Zen Buddhism, spiritual flow and enlightenment, non-dualism and ultimate reality. Then we have multidimensional consciousness and astral studies. Astral projection and out-of-body experiences are also governed by the ninth house. Near-death experiences and afterlife studies, lucid dreaming, and dream work as a spiritual practice, channeling higher dimensional beings or spirit guides, extraterrestrial and cosmic intelligence, ancient astronaut theories, and extraterrestrial consciousness are governed by the ninth house. Contact with higher dimensional beings, light codes and starseed awakening, galactic civilizations and interdimensional travel. Then there's sacred texts and higher wisdom teachings, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Book of Enoch and angelic hierarchies, the Tibetan Book of the Dead and reincarnation studies, Reiki and energy healing modalities, Kundalini activation and chakra awakening, sound healing and vibrational frequency studies, sacred alchemy and transmutation of spiritual energy, time, space, and reality exploration, the holographic universe theory, time travel and interdimensional shifting are also governed by the ninth house. Simulation theory and reality hacking, manifestation and the law of assumption, Neville Goddard's teachings. The ninth house encourages seeking truth beyond physical reality, making it the ruler of higher dimensional awareness. In astrology, the ninth house is traditionally associated with certain family members who play a role in guiding one's philosophical, spiritual, or intellectual growth. The key family member linked to the ninth house is the father. In some astrological traditions, the ninth house represents the father, especially in Vedic astrology. It reflects the father's beliefs, wisdom, spiritual inclinations, and influence on one's worldview. The fourth house is typically associated with the mother, but the ninth house can show the father's teaching, religious influence, or moral values. The second are the grandparents, especially the paternal grandfather. The ninth house can signify one's paternal grandfather, especially if he was a guiding or mentoring figure in life. This house can reflect ancestral wisdom passed down through generations. Third are the mentors and father figures of one's life. While not always a biological family member, the ninth house can represent stepfathers, godfathers, or male mentors who act as teachers or guides. This could include uncles, family elders, or anyone in the family who imparts wisdom and life lessons. Fourth are the in-laws, especially the father-in-law. In some traditions, the ninth house is linked to in-laws, particularly the father-in-law. It can reflect the relationship with a spouse's family, especially regarding cultural or religious differences. Since the ninth house represents wisdom, philosophy, and higher learning, family members associated with it are typically those who influence one's morals, education, and spiritual beliefs. In astrology, an afflicted ninth house means that this area of life, governing higher education, philosophy, long-distance travel, spirituality, and wisdom, is experiencing challenges, delays, or obstacles due to difficult planetary placements or aspects. How the ninth house can be afflicted? Well, malefic planets. Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu in the ninth house can create afflictions. Harsh aspects like squares, oppositions from other planets, and a weak or debilitated ruler of the ninth house itself. The effects of an afflicted ninth house can include challenges in education and higher learning, struggles with academic success, delayed graduation, difficulty grasping complex philosophical or intellectual concepts, or lack of access to higher education or dropping out of school. Religious and spiritual confusion. Conflicts with religious or spiritual beliefs, struggles with faith, skepticism, or dogmatic thinking, and clashes with religious authorities or disillusionment with organized religion. Third, there's the trouble with travel or foreign affairs. Difficulties in long-distance travel, visa issues or legal problems abroad, unfavorable experiences in foreign countries, a sense of not belonging in different cultures. Then there's struggles with the law, ethics, and justice system. Legal troubles, court cases, or problems with the justice system. Questionable moral compass, unethical behavior, or issues with integrity, facing injustice or difficulty receiving fair treatment, strained relationships with father or mentors, issues with the father or father figures, estrangement, loss or conflicts, lack of proper guidance, struggling to find mentors, negative experiences with teachers, religious leaders, or authoritarian figures. Blockages in luck or fortune, feeling unlucky or unexperienced, difficulties in achieving success, obstacles in manifesting opportunities for growth, constant setbacks in personal or professional expansion. How to remedy an afflicted ninth house. Education and learning. Continue expanding knowledge through self-study or alternative education paths. Spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, or exploring different belief systems for clarity. Travel with caution. Plan ahead for international trips to avoid unnecessary difficulties. Legal and ethical integrity. Maintain honesty and fairness in all dealings. Healing father/mentor relationships. Work on forgiveness, communication, or seeking alternative role models. Astrological remedies can include strengthening the ruler of the ninth house itself through planetary remedies like gemstones, mantras, or conducting rituals. How to interpret an empty ninth house in astrology. An empty ninth house means there are no planets placed in this house at the time of birth. However, this does not mean that the themes of the ninth house, higher education, spirituality, long-distance travel, law, philosophy, and wisdom, are absent from your life. Instead, it suggests that these areas may not be the primary focus of life's challenges or growth, and they unfold more naturally or are influenced by the ruler of the ninth house and any aspects made to it. If you have an empty, neutral, or uncomplicated ninth house, You may not feel a strong, urgent drive toward higher education, philosophy, or religion, but you also don't face major challenges in that area either. Your experiences with travel, learning, and spirituality might feel normal rather than being central themes of personal transformations. The sign ruling the ninth house cusp and its planetary rulers' placement will shape your approach to higher learning, spirituality, and travel. For example, if your ninth house is ruled by Jupiter and Jupiter is in the 10th house, your career might involve teaching, publishing, or law. Learning and spirituality may come through other houses. If planets like Jupiter, Saturn, or Neptune, which relate to wisdom and spirituality, are strong in other houses, they may bring ninth house themes indirectly through those areas. For example, if Jupiter is in the 3rd house, you might prefer self-study, short courses, or local learning over formal higher education. Higher education and travel might be less of a focus for you. You might not feel a strong pull towards attending universities or foreign travel, or you may engage in them more casually. If you do pursue higher education, it may be more practical rather than deeply philosophical and spiritual. Your core belief system could be influenced by other factors as well. Rather than deeply questioning your belief system, you might adopt existing family or cultural beliefs without much resistance. If the ninth house ruler is well placed, you could still have strong convictions about religion, law, or education despite the house being empty. Also, traveling may not be a central theme of your life. While you might still travel, it may not be life-defining experiences for you in that area. Some people with an empty ninth house travel for practical reasons such as work or family, rather than spiritual or philosophical explorations. How to interpret your empty ninth house more deeply? Look at the ruler of your ninth house, its sign, house placement, and aspects to see where your belief system, education, and travel themes manifest. 2. Check Jupiter in your chart, since Jupiter naturally rules the ninth house and influences these areas of life. 3rd, look at aspects to the ninth house cusp, if any, as these can modify how you experience ninth house matters. And that's all I have for the ninth house. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Have a good one.